talk about helping your kids buy their first home. Jason, you've got kids?
You're two of them.
I've got kids. I've got heaps of
Of
kids. Should you and I help our kids buy their first home?
Look, I think yes. I think if you are in a position to do so, then helping your kids into their first home while you're still alive and young enough to see them enjoy the benefits of that assistance, rather than wait till you're 90 and they're 60, I think you should. But you should be very careful about how you do it, to the extent that you do it, and also about the financial position that you're in before you do it.
All right, let's talk about that financial position from both sides. How strong a financial position should you and I be in before we step into this?
Yeah, look, I think the rule of thumb should be that if you're going to help your kids into a house, it shouldn't have any impact on your own ability to retire or your own lifestyle. So, you should have your debt paid off, you should have some savings elsewhere, you should be able to do so without causing any financial grief on yourself. And if it is going to cause you to suffer financially, then maybe you should think twice about helping your kids into a house.
I like the sound of that. Now, what about them? What sort of position should they be in, and how do you assess that?
Yeah, again, really important. So it's one thing to go and help your kids buy a house, but you should understand why they can't be buying their own house themselves in the first place. So if it's just because they're paying rent and the amount of rent is impacting their ability to save and pay off a mortgage, then I think that's okay. If it's because they're just useless with money, they go out every weekend, go out for breakfast on a Sunday, fill up the streets of Applecross so I can't get a coffee, then maybe they need a bit more help in terms of their own financial literacy and budgeting before you go and help them. So it's important to be in a good position yourself, but also understand where your kids are at financially as well.
Yeah, all right, and make sure they're grateful and they know how much you love them and you care for them. Mm-hmm. So what are the best ways to assist? Once you've assessed that, what's the best ways to assist?
Well, the easiest way is a simple gift, isn't it? So you give your kids some money, they go and use that as a deposit or buy them a house. It doesn't take any financial agreements or anything like that, so it is pretty simple, but it also provides no protection. So if you give your kids $100,000 to help them into their first home and they shack up with some scumbag or go through a bad breakup, a de facto breakup, or they lose their job or they go bankrupt or something bad happens to them, then your gift and your family money walks away with them potentially. So a gift is simple but doesn't provide any protection. You can lend them the money. Mm-hmm. So even though you've got no intention of charging them interest or ever asking for that loan back, if it's in a loan agreement, then if those things happen, breakups or financial struggles, then you can call in your loan, and so you protect your money. You can re-lend it to them down the track. So I think that's a common way and a popular way. People do buy houses jointly with their kids. Just not sure that's a great idea. You've got to be on the same page when you go to sell that property. There's no capital gains tax relief for you because it's an investment property, not your own home. So a joint asset for me is probably out. And finally, and again, commonly, you can go guarantor for your kids, but then you're putting your house up for your kids. And if they mess it up, you're on the street potentially. So they're the types of ways people do help their kids. My view, I think if you can lend them the money, it provides some protection. And also just don't buy them a house. It might feel nice and you might be able to afford it. It doesn't really teach them much about paying off debt, does it?
The School of Hard Knocks with Jason.
You think I hate kids?
I know you love both your kids very much.
I do.
And this is a legitimate question to ask your financial planner. Should I buy a house for my kids and how should I do it?
We get it often, and look, and more so now, property ownership is tough for younger people. Property prices are high relative to income, so it is a more and more common question. It's not as easy, I don't think, as just buying kids a house or gifting them money. Bring your kids in with you and see your planner. Make sure that everyone knows what the deal is, how it's going to work. Understand that the kids are in a position to pay that money back, that they're actually okay financially and they're good with money. Make sure they've got insurance, so if something happens to their health, they can pay your loan back or their loan back. So yes, it's a legitimate question. Yes, it's something that should be covered under your agreement with your planner or as part of the service that they provide. But make sure you do get advice before you start throwing money around for your kids.
Very good advice, well explained, and give them a cuddle every now and then.
Every now and again if they deserve it.